From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
Good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce. This is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, the road ahead. We'll find out what the federal government, the Nevada delegation, and a major state agency are doing to make your travel faster, safer, and more convenient. And my special guest today again is Mr. Lee Gibson, the Executive Director of the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County. Thanks for being here again.
It's great to be here.
As you're traveling around Nevada by car, rail, bus, or other mode, you likely don't think about the planning that went into the infrastructure nor the implementation of those plans. Well, thank goodness that my guest does. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll look at the federal role in Nevada transportation projects. We'll find out what the congressional delegation has done recently to try and make your travel safer and more convenient. And we'll ask my guest to explain how the RTC project goes from the drawing board to reality. Well, Mr. Gibson joined us last week for a discussion on what the recently passed highway bill means to Nevada. Today we'll look at both broadly and specifically at the role of the feds and Nevada delegation as concerns Nevada transportation. For much of last year, there was no agreement on new legislation to authorize federal surface transportation programs as funds from the Stimulus Act were running out. Well, thankfully, says my guest, Mr. Gibson, the highway bill passed late last year, providing desperately needed dollars to help fund the project of the state's transportation agencies. Let's quickly summarize what the federal bill is for those of you who missed last week's program. The Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century Act, or MAP-21, is a funding and authorization bill to govern the nation's federal surface transportation spending. The $105 billion two-year bill was signed into law last July. It includes funding for federally supported highway, transit, and bridge programs. But why should you in Nevada care about a seemingly boring highway bill? Well, as the National Governors Association puts it, quote, our nation's multimodal transportation and related infrastructure systems support and enhance the economic growth of states and the nation. In other words, getting a Nevadan from point A to point B is one part of making sure we remain a strong country, maintaining the U.S. position in the global economy. So, Mr. Gibson, is it too strong a statement to say that your RTC of Washoe County plays a huge role not only in the planning and implementation of area transportation, but also in the overall economy?
Absolutely, it's not. The Regional Transportation Commission, especially in its planning function, brings together our elected leaders and brings together the facts and the figures and the citizen input to make decisions about the types of projects and services we need. And with the economic challenges we face today, we're paying particular attention to how we can leverage the federal dollars and the opportunities in MAP-21 to help us create more jobs and create a diversified economy. And that, I think, is the single biggest challenge or single biggest issue we're struggling with here in 2013, is how to continue the efforts to leverage transportation investments to economic growth and development for Washoe County.
Were you pleased with the bill? What did you most like about it, and where, in your opinion, did it fall short, especially for Nevada?
Well, I think the fact, what I appreciate about the bill is, one, stable and reliable funding for the state for 2 years. $350 million is going to come to the state. We'll be able to use that for our transit systems, our roadways, our rail systems. I'm also appreciative of some of the new provisions, especially as it relates to how we develop our regional plans. We're going to have much more local decision making delegated to us. There will be less of a heavy hand from Washington. While Washington is going to focus on defining performance measures, we'll be able to set the targets and we'll be able to set the emphasis areas. And so I think that's an important role for us, and that'll allow us to be able to target the federal investments to meet the local needs best. I think what I was disappointed with is that we still have a long-term funding challenge to be met at the federal level. This is only a 2-year bill. We'll be We'll have theoretically no legal ability to move federal money to Nevada after the bill expires. We would have liked to have seen a 6-year bill that could have ensured reliability and stability in our bill, in our efforts to work with the Nevada Department of Transportation to do some of the big projects, be able to bring contractors on board for long periods of time, ensure construction jobs, and bring that economic revitalization. So we'll be looking forward to moving those types of issues forward here now, actually.
Were you happy with the $350 million?
I think the $350 million was excellent. I'm happy with it. I know we can use that money. What we are seeing in Nevada, at least in Washoe County, is a greater proportion of our local resources going to our projects. And I like the planning provisions in that they give us more local discretion to make decisions, because our federal balance between the local and federal share is getting closer to even. And I think being able to give the Regional Transportation Commission the decision-making authority to make those decisions is an important component of that bill.
Excellent. And when we return, the big dollars driving the transportation system. That's right after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by the National Mining Association, Caesars Entertainment, NV Energy, the LVCVA, Western Lithium Corporation, the Nevada Mining Association, Station Casinos, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, and Skyline Restaurant and Casino.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce is Nevada's top source of federal news on television and on radio. But if you want even more Nevada-focused news from Washington, you need to subscribe to our Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter. Nevada's Washington Watch is the only publication that links Nevadans to Capitol Hill. Like our Eye on Washington program, Nevada's Washington Watch keeps you in the know on all the top federal issues that impact you, your family, and your business. Subscribe today at joycecommunications.com. That's joycecommunications.com.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
What is HOPE? It's a community's commitment to stopping violence against women and children. The Shade Tree Shelter continues to keep its doors and hearts open 24 hours a day to offer help, healing, and hope to women and families in crisis. For more information, call 385-0072 or visit www.shadetree.org. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can help save lives.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of the federal role in your car, bus, rail, and plane ride. My very special guest today is Mr. Lee Gibson, the Executive Director of the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County. Well, let's look more closely at the Nevada delegation's role in transportation-related efforts. It's one thing to get a highway bill passed by the Congress. It's quite another to make sure that enough funds in it are directed toward projects important to transportation leaders like my guest, Mr. Gibson. Here are some examples of Nevada projects funded in the last highway bill, thanks in parts to effort of the congressional delegation. In northern Nevada, $28 million to improve I-80, I-580 in the Reno-Sparks area, $10 million for the V&T Railroad reconstruction project in Carson City, $12 million for the bus rapid transit on Virginia Street in Reno, $2 million for the Carson City bypass project, and $2 million for Elko roadside improvements near the California Trail Interpretive Center. And a handful for you in southern Nevada, $32 million for the Las Vegas Valley Fixed Regional Guideway, $26 million for the I-15 widening from Primm to Sloan, $26.5 million for I-15 I-15 widening from US 95 to Apex, $50 million for the Hoover Dam bypass near Boulder City, and $21 million for the Colorado River Bridge in Laughlin. Now, Mr. Gibson, people traveling over that Laughlin Bridge, for instance, they're not really thinking about the planning that went into something like that, but it is crucial, isn't it?
It's absolutely critical. If we don't follow the federal planning process, we don't bring the money back to the state that all of us pay every time we're at the gas pump. So we've got to have our plans updated. They have to be reflective of the needs, and they have to help justify the projects. The planning process is really the beginning of the project development efforts that ultimately result in getting something built. And we want to make sure, I think a critical thing in the planning process for folks to remember is, irrespective of the federal laws and regulations, it's really about making sure we understand what's happening in our community, what our citizens are doing when they travel and work and recreate and educate themselves. And we have to balance our resources against what those needs are and come up with the best solution and involve the public. And I think that's the important element of what we try to do and make sure we deliver those projects in a timely manner.
What are some past major Washoe County projects that are at least partially thanks to funding by the feds, by the delegation's work?
I-80, I-580, we use federal funds for the construction of those facilities. I think the one I'm kind of happy with is the bus rapid transit, the rapid service on Virginia Street. We used federal funds to buy vehicles, to build stations, to put in traffic signal improvements, and our ability has been greatly enhanced to move people up and down Virginia Street. And that's been we've seen double-digit increases in ridership on the rapid line, and we're moving forward with an extension of that up to UNR, which is the region's biggest employer. And an interesting statistic, 1 out of every 10 Washoe County residents touches either the Truckee Meadows Community College or UNR in one fashion or another. They're going to school there, they have a job there, or they're taking a continuing education. They're doing something to educate themselves. And so we really want to work hard to not just provide the rapid service, but make sure we're building solid road connections so people can get to our educational facilities.
You know, I mentioned a lot of the projects in the last bill that our congressional delegation has been involved in. I want to take just a moment on the show to talk about your involvement with the congressional delegation. I know you're in D.C. several times a year, and how do you, I know you meet with our senators and congresspersons, but how do you bring the needs of Washoe County residents to our delegation members as far as transportation infrastructure, and then help influence bills they introduce on the Hill and that would translate into funding for a project in your Washoe County? I
think we do it in a number of levels. I think we do it first by making sure we have a solid planning process back home, so we can really identify the critical needs. Then we bring those critical needs to Washington, and I have to say, from a statewide perspective, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, the Regional Transportation Commission in Carson City, the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada, and the Nevada Department of Transportation, we all work together. We all work together to come to an agreement on a statewide list of needs, because we believe it's important that our delegation, when they're advocating for Nevada issues, speak in one voice. So we speak with one voice at the state level, they can speak with one voice at the federal level, and that helps us bring back the dollars to Nevada and bring back projects that really improve our quality of life. So that's really, and then I think the third thing that is important is when I'm back here, I'm often dealing with regulatory issues with the executive branch, either with the Federal Highway Administration or the Federal Transit Administration. And sometimes the delegation can be a big help in helping us move or face challenges and resolve issues that occur in the administrative process. And so it's important for us to keep our delegation informed about those issues.
Great. Okay. And when we return right after this, the master plan from a master planner, how transportation infrastructure gets built. That's right after this.
Every day, thousands of people in northern Nevada don't get enough to eat. 1 out of 5 children in northern Nevada go to bed hungry every night. But you can do something about it. Catholic Community Services of Northern Nevada has been providing help and creating hope in our community for more than 65 years. By donating food, time, or money, you can make a difference in a hungry person's life. When you make your generous donation to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, you're helping to fight the scourge of hunger in northern Nevada. In these tough economic times, now more than ever, we need to help those less fortunate. To find out how you can donate to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, call, click, or stop by, and together we can end hunger in northern Nevada.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
This girl is very pretty. It's inciting feelings of jealousy in me. We should pick on her.
I'm insecure about some things, so I think we should put some me stuff on here. Maybe even some lies, too.
Yeah.
I just want to be accepted by you both. So I'm going to send this to my friends so they think I'm cool.
Kids bully for all kinds of reasons. None of them are good. Find ways to get involved at flipthescriptnow.org.
How will new energy technology make our lives better? Will geothermal, wind, and solar energy be a bigger part of our future? Yes. And soon it will all be in our backyard. Learn more at nvenergy.com.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of Nevada's transportation infrastructure and all that goes into it. My special guest today is Mr. Lee Gibson, the Executive Director of the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County. The roads, bridges, bus routes, rail lines, and bike paths that you in Nevada utilize daily, they didn't get there by magic. They got there through very careful planning. So let's learn this segment about all that goes into your ride. We'll focus on the planning efforts of my guest organization, but just know that wherever you are, your ability to travel around Nevada is partly thanks to some serious planning efforts. As it says on the RTC website, the future of Northern Nevada depends on the transportation networks of roads, streets, highways, and public transportation, and that future needs to clearly be mapped out. So the RTC Planning Department anticipates, forecasts, and plans for the county's transportation needs of today, tomorrow, and the future. The single most important planning document the RTC prepares is called the Regional Transportation Plan. It serves as a blueprint outlining the region's long-range transportation plans to accommodate the master plan development in the city of Reno, city of Sparks, and Washoe County. It addresses travel by all modes, including automobiles, transit, bicycles, pedestrians, aviation, rail, and goods movement, as well as transportation management strategies to make the system more efficient. Now, you wear a lot of hats as head of the commission, but it is careful planning that's at the base of it all, isn't it?
That's correct. It's the planning process and the planning documents that lay the foundation for us to begin engineering design, to seek federal funds, and to go construct roads, to start bus lines, to build rapid transit stations like on our rapid line on Virginia Street. It's that document that's the critical piece.
So walk us through it. How does a community's vision for a certain transportation project, how does it go from the vision to concrete plan that I'm driving on?
Well, we go through about an 18-month planning process when we develop the Regional Transportation Plan. We use facts, we use forecasts, but we also use a lot of citizen input. The plan we've just developed recently involved workshops. We had outreach meetings with specific stakeholders such as seniors, freight and goods movement companies, as well as just general citizens. We actually engaged in workshops where people defined roads for us that they thought were needed, or defined transit lines. So we start with that. But what's important is that the RTC, as a group of elected officials from the cities and the county, coming together and working for the betterment of our region is the critical piece, because they adopt the plan and that gives us a green light to go forward with construction.
And you have to constantly take into account both projected population growth and employment trends when you're planning, right?
Absolutely. Where people live and where people work is what it's really all about. We have to.
So you kind of look ahead, the city's growing or the county's growing this way, or jobs, or you were mentioning the around the college, for instance, when you see areas where there's a lot of both growth in population and growth in employment, you begin planning out that way as well.
That's correct. And a good example is the Southeast Connector that's going to connect the industrial areas of Sparks with South Reno. These are two areas where there's lots of jobs, lots of where people live. It's an alternative to 395. Our plans have shown we can't widen 395 anymore. We're about done with how much that freeway can develop, so we need a parallel connector. And so it's those types of issues that we define in the planning process, and they really help us design and build roads that are going to meet the needs for the long term for our community, and that's what really we're trying to do.
Does planning have a federal component to it? Are there regulations in, for example, the highway bill that impact decisions?
There is a framework in the federal law with respect to how planning is conducted and what the emphasis areas are. Remember, planning highways in particular, especially the interstate system, is really all about interstate commerce, which is the federal constitutional nexus for planning. So we have an obligation to make sure we're doing our part in Nevada to support the national economy and promote interstate transportation. So,
what are some guiding principles when you're putting together that regional transportation plan?
Economic development, safety, fostering connectivity between where people live, where people work, looking at multiple modes. Those are four that come to my mind right away with respect to what we see from the federal government as important factors to consider. Another one that's come about that is important for interstate commerce is connecting to airports and and railroads. And we'll be doing a lot of that in our future long-term planning and projects to help move freight more efficiently through northern Nevada.
And when we return, in case oversight of your commute and other travels isn't enough, the RTC even helps you float. Details next.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Back with our closing segment of Eye on Washington. Let's wrap up today telling you just a bit about the other roles of My Guest Commission. The Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County serves the citizens of Reno, Sparks, and the unincorporated areas of Washoe County. As we've mentioned, it's the federally designated metropolitan planning organization for the region responsible for the planning, public policy development, and implementation of quality transportation systems. Quickly, let's share a couple things the RTC does for you that we haven't gotten to. Did you attend the fall Reno Air Races? Well, the RTC offers park and ride service on the Balloon Race Express to use Washoe County buses. The RTC wants your ideas for ways to improve public transportation and has undertaken a transit system analysis. Public input is sought regarding transit priorities and possible new routes. One more for you quickly. The Commission is a strong advocate of and participant in the See Something, Say Something campaign. It's an effort to keep Washoe's public transportation safe and secure. If you live in Washoe County and want more information about RTC, you can visit rtcwashoe.com. Mr. Gibson, from balloon races to suspicious activity on buses, is there anything you don't do?
Serve ice cream.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah.
You're welcome public input.
We might do that.
Might be next.
Actually, we could serve ice cream because we are encouraged to have joint development. And in 4th Street Station, we have vendors who can make food available. So there probably isn't much we don't touch.
You know, it is great that you actively seek the opinions of those you serve. Tell us a bit about how public input is gathered and what you do with it once you have it.
Well, we use a variety of technologies and methods, ostensibly to do what any business would do, which is stay in touch with their customers. So we have our web resources. We have phone. We'll take a phone call. We'll take an email. We actually go out as well and conduct workshops around our projects. We have as a philosophical rule, when we're talking with the neighborhood about a road widening or a new transit stop or a new transit line, we want to hear from the citizens. We want to take an idea that they suggest in one of those workshops and incorporate it in the design. And that way, the community will recognize that not only do we listen, but we're there to be their partner and deliver projects that will make life better for them.
I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing all this important information. I do want to remind our audience that if you want to learn more, you can go to rtcwashoe.com and then hit My RTC. Mr. Gibson, thanks so much for being here.
It was great.
That does wrap up this week's Eye on Washington. Be sure to join us next time as we discuss more important federal matters and their impact on you in Nevada. And for news anytime on how federal issues affect you, be sure to visit our website, joycecommunications.com. While you're there, be sure to like us on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Have a great day.